Support the channel today by using my TCG Player affiliate link down in the description. Hey, what's up guys? It's MadGamesGX here, and we're going to be doing an updated budget branded deck profile. So this has always been something that I've liked to provide during formats where I show you guys a build that is as cheap and as accessible and most importantly as good as possible, because a deck can be cheap, it can be meta, but can it perform to the specs because you're getting a cheaper deck? And I would like to say that this branded deck is the best budget deck version of branded that I've ever made. I think that branded is in actually the most budget form it's been in a while, with the new Terminal Revenge reprints of Grand Guignol, Cartesia, and other cards like that, so that the cards are much more accessible than ever. And I think that means that we can finally bump up to a 60 card build in our budget deck. Now, I know some people might not be happy with the 60 card budget build because, of course, with a 60 card build, we have more money because there are more cards. Now, this build is around $150, $100 in the main deck, and $50 between the side and the extra deck. So I felt like I kept it to a really nice price because this is well below the average of most decks out right now. It's actually well below like games like One Piece as well, and this is a very tournament friendly deck. I even took it to my own locals and did extraordinarily well with it, so I wanted to make sure that, you know, if I'm actually putting out a deck, that it's going to be nice and tried and true. So with that being said, we're going to get right into it. And I just want to say thank you all channel members for contributing to the channel. Very much do appreciate it, and let's get right into it. Make sure to comment down below and make sure to like the video. If this video gets 200 likes, we'll release a combo guide on the budget version of branded, because I know that there's not quite, you know, the same options in this, but we'll go over. I think this deck is actually not really missing much outside the thrusts and a few other bells and whistles, because I think when you're trying to make branded cheaper, you kind of have to make some sacrifices. You can't get the luxury things like a second Quem and thrust, for instance. So I'll show you guys the 60 card build that we're into. And like I said, guys, if you want something a little cheaper, you could always, I'm going to show you guys what cards you could take out to make it a 50 card build. I'll show you guys also side patterns at the end, alongside the extra deck and the side. All right, so 3 Albaz. All right, so we got 3 Albaz, of course, the boy, and then 3 Aluber, and so this is really standard ratios. Some people run 2 Aluber. I think you need to run 3, especially in a 6 budget version where there's a little bit less gas. 1 Quem and 3 Cartesia. So we're only on 1 Quem, as I hinted at before, because the fact is that you can't really afford the second Quem. The card's about a around $40 card, even more sometimes depending on the day. So we're only running 1. I think you do need 1 to run branded competently at this point. I think 2 allows you to play through Nibiru quite nicely though, so that is the thing that you are missing out by not having the second. However, this has never prevented branded from doing well without just 1 Quem, so I think that the 1 Quem is just fine, especially backed up by the 3 Cartesia. I think 3 Cartesia allows you to play through hand traps a lot better, so that's very good. It allows you to also, because there's lots of Veilers and Imperms in the meta, so I think running 3 Cartesia is very good right now for that reason alone, because it basically invalidates most hands that have like double Imperm because of Cartesia. So, and then after that, we have 3 Shrouded Dragon, which has become my new favorite staple in branded that a lot of people have also picked up in their branded deck. It's just, a lot of people like wonder why we run 3 Shrouded. It's because it's a send for cost, so that's very powerful. You get to send like an opening or a retribution, recycle, and like you can set branded fusion that way through not just a Luber. You can search it out that way through Shrouded sending with retribution, and like another way like Saranir or Quem. So it's a combo piece. Also, we're running 3 fusion duplication in the deck, so this card also sends branded fusion to just set up with fusion duplication or Quem as a 2-card combo. And then 1 Spriggan's Kit, and then 2 Mercurier, and 1 Tragedy. So 1 kit is really good because we're running Gold Stark, we're running High Spirits as well, so this card also just allows you to recycle the Banished Retribution. We also are running Branded Sword, so she just like really combos well with those cards. Like we're able to essentially always go full combo, and she helps us extend even more because a lot of the time we're running on like 8 cards in hand, so we're able to very much use her last effect and get back the Banished Retribution on top of like a Branded Red or whatever. 2 Mercurier because we are running 2 Earth Allura Darkness, so and we're also running Branded Sword, so we're able to bash the first and then get back through Branded Sword, or we're able to have the second just for follow-up immediately. I think only having one really limits your grind game really badly, so having two is just really nice. Also, you get to bash the other off of Allure. One Tragedy, I think it's kind of the worst of the aspects. I've actually debated on cutting it before, but I think that Tragedy is just fine for the most part. It's really nice for Allure, so also just like sending off of Brand Fusion to chain block Appaloosa right now is very important with Tragedy. So, I mean, obviously you can do that with Saronir, but I think Tragedy also helps you with certain combo lines. Alright, so here are the Bestials. 3 Saronir, Bestial Saronir, 1 Bestial Lubellion, and 1 Bestial Luber, which is a newer addition. Shout out to Raul. And now 3 Saronir, this is a little bit more of an expensive card, so this is a card that you could consider not running. It's only a couple dollars, but still, and same with Lubellion, but I think you need to run the Bestials. Could be like create and just like run no Bestials. I just still think the Bestials are way too good, especially in a build with High Spirits. I think we're focusing around High Spirits because High Spirits is like actually your best way to play around Ash, in my opinion. So that's what this build is really facilitating around. You're running a bunch of dragon monsters, so you're able to get the most amount of dragons, so you always have High Spirits full combo. 1 Lubellion is just fine. I would actually like to run this at two copies, but it's just budget reasons. This is like a $15 card. And then Bestial Luber is a really spicy option because we basically could send off a Saronir, and it's a Fallen of Albaz in the graveyard. Also very good against Tenpai because it just board breaks the dragon board, so it's very good. It's just another way to set up Brandon Ren and make it live through Saronir. It's just another nice combo piece. Also helps facilitate some Gimmick Puppet lines. So, speaking of the Gimmick Puppet, one of Gimmick Puppet, you have to run it, in my opinion. If you are not running it, you are running a worse version of Branded. So, I mean, like, that's the thing, too. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, is Sanctifier going to get banned? Is Sanctifier going to get banned? But, like, I think that the better question is, are you going to want to play Branded after Sanctifier gets banned? Because it might not get banned, and that'll be fine and dandy. But if it does, I think it'll turn off a lot of people from the deck. But I think that a lot of people need to realize Branded can really play through just the fact, or can just play without the Gimmick Puppet. Like, the deck's just great. I think Gimmick Puppet helps a lot, though. So it's something to consider. I just think until then, we should run it. There are people who win without it, though. So that shows the deck is very good without it. It's just, like, really good against Fire, though, because, like, you have to break their board and then Gimmick Lock them because they have so much follow-up and you can't OTK them. So that's why you kind of need the Gimmick Puppet going second. That's why you should never side out Gimmick Puppet. You need to keep it in going second. It's just not good against things like Labyrinth. It's not good against things like Flu. 3 Branded Fusion, best card in the game. 3 Branded Opening, second best card in the deck. Not really, it's just a really good extender. It's also very good against fire cards, just to always have something for destruction protection. And then here's a new spicy tech, 3 High Spirits. So High Spirits is a card that you reveal 1 monster and then you send 1 from your extra deck to the graveyard alongside the monster you revealed with that have the same, basically it needs to have 2500 attack with the same type. So you send a dragon, and then you will send an Albion or a Titanclad, and then you'll search like a Cartesia, and hopefully you'll pitch an Albaz, and then you'll have a live Cartesia, or you can get Kit to search the Branded Fusion. A lot of the time, if you have a Luber Albaz, your best search is this over Branded Fusion, because you could just go that, pitch the Albaz, and then full combo. I think it's really good too in a budget build too. I think this is the card you should be looking at in a budget kind of build, because of the fact that you are able to play through Ash with this card. Like, if they Ash you, okay, great, you go High Spirits, or this could bait the Ash and then you go Brand Fusion. Either way, I think that some players would actually end up Ashing High Spirits over Branded Fusion, because if they know, if you pitch a dragon with the High Spirits, it gets you more advantage than Branded Fusion half the time. So, you know, it's something to consider. I think that the card's very good, though, in order to play through Ash Blossom. Also plays around Droll. You can just chain it to Droll. It's also a draw phase card, but I don't recommend using in the draw phase, because if they chain Shifter, you're just having a bad day. You want to chain this to Shifter, so you want to hold this for Shifter. You want to, like, bait their Shifter, like, send cards to the graveyard to check that they have Shifter or not, and then when they don't, you can just go High Spirits. Also just a great combo piece with Branded Sword as well, guys. Like, I have a combo guide I will link down in the description where you guys can see where this card really shines with Branded Sword. Like, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to set up lines with Branded Sword and like Quem and Bestial in order to set up a line with Mercurier in hand with like a Albaz Dragon, and then you can go Branded Fusion with Mercurier in hand with the dragon, so you can get around Ash Blossom, and that's kind of what this card does. And I'll link down to the combo guide so you guys can see what I'm talking about, because I think you really need to watch that combo guide if you're going to be playing a build like this, because it will definitely just show you lines that you've never seen before with Branded and let you do things that you've never done before with Branded. 2 brand red, very standard at this point. I think 2 is good. It sucks when you draw 2 going first, or it sucks when you draw 1 and you don't need it, but like it's a really good card. Like you kind of need to run it at 2 in my opinion, especially because we are running Desire, so you don't want to bash the second. Speaking of that, we are only running 1 a Lost though, because it doesn't really matter if we bash the Lost. I never want to bash red though. Red is so integral. Lost isn't necessary, but Lost is still great card. I think if they ban Lost, like I was talking to Sam Zhang about this, like he would he said that basically Brand Lost would be a bigger hit for the deck than Sanctifier. I'm not sure if that's true, but like I tend to actually almost agree, because this card just allows you to do uninterrupted gimmick locks and also allows you to break a board very easily. So very good card, and I think you need at least 1 brand red, but I think you could run 2, especially in 60 cards. 3 fusion deployment for the honorary brand for more just generic engine cards. 3 deployment, 1 foolish, 1 gold sark. Yeah, I think you need to run this. Also this, because we're running brand sword, so this card's like full combo. You just like banish Mercurier, search Shroud Dragon, pitch sword, and then you get Mercurier back plus the draw, which is just broken. And then Foolish Burial just for consistency. I think you need that in a 60 card deck. You just need these really powerful 1 card starters. And then 3 Pot of Desires for the draw engine, and 3 Allure Darkness. This has actually been my favorite draw engine this format. I run this no matter what in my branded decks. 3 Desires, 3 Allure, because I think it allows you to just see all your engine very, very accessibly, and it allows you to break a board, because going second, if you're just going Allure, bash Mercurier, okay, now you're +2, and then you go Desires, you go no +1, and you're +3 cards already. It's just insane. So yeah, I think that running them both, you could just like opt to not run the Allures. I think that Desires is a little better than Allure, but I think Allure is just so good in Branded. It's like one of my favorite cards in Branded. I just think a pure +1 is really good in a 60 card build, but I think that Allure is just so good in conjunction, because you need ways to cycle through your deck in a 60 card build, or else you won't see your good cards, obviously. So I think that having 6 cards that just say draw 2 is insane, because it, like I said, it's a board breaker going second almost, because you can draw into your board breakers. It lets you see your deck. Very necessary in 60 card deck. I think if you're running 60 cards and you're not running draw 2 cards, you are building the deck wrong. You don't need to be like me and run both, but I think running both is good, and I would recommend it. Just make sure that you're running a ratio of like 2 Mercurier, 2 Tragedy with the Allures, so you know you don't end up breaking on Allure. 3 Dark Ruler no more, and 3 Forbidden Droplet for the board breakers. Now, you could opt to do something else than droplets, guys, because this is like a few dollar card, but droplet, this is very cheap. You could do actually evenlies over this. Like, I think we could do very much evenlies over droplet in the main deck. I think that droplet's very good if you just have them around, and that's also why I want to do a 60 card build, because a lot of you guys are just gonna have these generic cards just laying around, like Pod Desires, Dark Ruler no more, droplet. So like an Allure Darkness. So I think that going to 60 cards is actually well within budget friendly terms, because you're going to be using a lot of cards you already have, and also they're very much common. So I think Droplet, Dark Ruler are the best board breakers in the game right now. Dark Ruler is going to be the best board breaker post info, because it takes care of basically every board post info, plus another board breaker. So or most of the time it will just take care of the boards. Also with all the Sprite going on, with Sprite winning the Peru WCQ. So I think Droplet's very good as well. Still in our deck, like Nightfall said, it's just the interaction with our deck is just insane. So I think that's still very much well worth to run. I think post info though, we could reconsider this, and Driller definitely. No Book of Eclipse in the main though. This could be Book of Eclipse also. This could very well be Book of Eclipse. It could be Book of Eclipse. Let's just say that it's Book of Eclipse, because like Book of Eclipse is very good in this deck, because you can use it as a way to dodge Imperm. So let's just say it's Book of Eclipse for this reason, because it is actually a lot more budget friendly. Book of Eclipse is very good and branded because it allows you to dodge Imperm, because going first you can go Luber, normal summon, and then they go Imperm, you can chain Book of Eclipse. It's also very good for breaking a board, so because you can stop like the IP, You're also able to crush a YuGiOh board with this, and also a voiceless board, so I think these cards are very good. Droplets, just something you consider also. I just think that Eclipse is actually just better overall. And then 2 tactics, because we're not running thrust in this deck, so we can still run tactics. We could run 3, I just think it's bricky at 3, and you have a bunch of draw 2 cards, so you can obviously see this card very often. And then for the rest of the play past, a bunch of cards that are going to allow me to play past Ash Blossom. 3 Fusion Duplication, and then 1 Branded Sword and 1 Called By. So Brand Sword, obviously, I can do the line with Mercurier, where you sub like an Alba Lenatus most of the time, because you can contact fuse with like Shroud and Quem, and then you can get Mercurier back to hand and then go Brand Fusion, so that you have a Mercurier in hand and you can play around Ash. It's basically like an engine Called By. I think that's very good. And then 2 talents. It's also like some people are like, oh, Brand Sword's a brick. Some people were like hating on it in the last video. And it's just like, you just have not seen the lines. Like the card's insane. Please watch the combo guide down below if you want to see more about what the card's about. And then 3 Fusion Duplication. Shout out to Nightfall and Yuri for really just like having people main 3 basically for the last few weeks. It's such a good card at 3. I think that without running thrust, this is something I've been asked a lot. Can you run 3 Fusion Duplication instead of 3 thrust? And I completely agree. I think people with thrust are running 3 Fusion Duplication, so you could run 3 Fusion Duplication without thrust. It's just really great card. Even going second, because you can half break a board and then go Fusion Duplication, set it, and then Gimmick Puppet them, very good. And then 1 Branded Retribution, obviously, because you need to run it. Such a good card. A lot of the time, I love just like recycling this with Kit, or just like recycling my 2 like Albion and Titanclad, and just such a good card for your grind game to keep it up. Called By is the God card too. So that was the 60 card main deck. Thank you guys for watching that portion. And now we're gonna get into the extra deck super quickly. 2 Mirror Jade, 1 Albion, 1 Lubellion, 2 Albion the Branded Dragon. Really standard ratio. Run 2 Albion, run 2 Mirror Jade. This is like the standard extra deck, like I mentioned in my video, so I'm not really gonna, like, if you are not running card for card this extra deck, you're probably playing the wrong extra deck in Branded. 1 Titanclad, because it's very good for getting Quem, and also it's very good for Rogue. 1 Sanctifier, because you win games because of this card. It's also you're evenly out. Gimmick Puppet 2, 1 Renbrum, because it's so good to send off of Mirror Jade. It's also so good to pair with Alba Lenatus against Tenpai. So you can summon the Albaz against Tenpai or even Snake Eye, and then just make an Alba Lenatus on their turn. So good. Makes Mirror Jade give you 2 interruptions on top of the banish, and then you can obviously just loop Mirror Jade, so very good. Then 2 Grand Guignol, because it's the best extender in the whole damn deck. It's such a generically broken card. Also just a grind game piece to banish itself to summon Querdus or like another Quem. That's why I like the second Quem though, so you can summon out the Quem off of Guignol, so that's why I think it's important. I think you need to run 2 Guignol, which this is a new addition to the budget list, because this card used to be very expensive. Now it's not, because it's a budget card now. So I do think that we should be running this at 2, because it allows you to facilitate Gimmick Puppet lines that you wouldn't otherwise. Like, if you need the first one to send the remaining pieces to set up the Gimmick Lock, and then you need the second one to send the puppet on your opponent's turn under Lost. So yeah, you just need to run that. And then Querdus is so good. You could run Lulu, but we opted not to run the Nadir package. I was on the Nadir package for this build, but I just think Nadir is impossible to run right now with how solved the extra deck is. You're just gimping yourself by like running less of your good cards, and you're going to kill your grind game because of that in certain matchups, and you're going to literally lose a matchup for not having the second Mirror Jade kind of thing. Stapelia, Borreload, and Chimera for basically just rounding out our deck. Chimera breaks every board. It's like second best fusion in the whole deck, and then Borreload Furious is arguably the best fusion, honestly, besides Mirror Jade, because it's quick effect, just pop anything. So it's like how you win against Lab, Runic, against Tenpai, because you pop the field spell, and then Stapelia, since it's a continuous effect, you're always just blowing out Tenpai with this card. It's such a good card versus Tenpai. Also just like the Sprite going around, and also it's going to be very good post info, because you can make it off of Super Raleigh with a lot of the boards, so keep in mind for that. And then the side deck, this is a budget friendly side deck. Here are the board breaker package. I think you need board breakers right now with how many and board breakers are only going to get better post info, and I do want to say this is going to be a list that is very good post info. I want to keep info in mind with this list. So Feather Duster, just to get rid of the back row decks on top of evenly matched at 3. I think these are the 6 best board breakers in the game, so they're usually going in. And then obviously for the rest of the board break, I think evenly is like the best in our deck. Then 3 Droplet that we had in our main that we took out for the Eclipses because we want to be able to have more options for going second versus just like Snake Eye. It's very good, and also just like a lot of decks that make like fuck you boards. And then Shadal Dragon for clearing out back row decks. I think you need Shadal Dragon because you can go Brand Fusion, send Albaz, Shadal Dragon, chain block the Lubellion under skill drain, pop the skill drain, and then your Lubellion resolves. Very broken card. You just need it. It's such a good investment. Also very good against any deck. You can just go Brand Fusion, break a board, send the dragon, make a Mirror Jade. So good. And it chain blocks. So I just usually sign Shadal Dragon when I'm going second against any deck that has any sort of back row. 2 Bestials. They could be Druid Storm, Magnamut, but this is a cheaper one, so that's what we're doing. You need them for Branded. Also, they're pretty good. They're decent against Snake Eye for when you can snipe the IP. 1 Banishment for Branded, 1 D Barrier for Tenpai and Branded and Voiceless, and then Masquerade for Time. Yeah, no, Banishment, it's really nice because you can, in the mirror match, you can just go like normal Luber after you've been puppet locked and search the Banishment. You need to get a Fusion in the graveyard, but you can very easily just crash the Luber and then just use Banishment, fuse off their monster, and then just keep playing the game. So yeah, that was the list. Thank you. That was our budget Branded Despia deck list for post Terminal Revenge / info format. I do want to say, guys, I will have an updated budget list in a few months, a little bit more into info format before Raging Abyss, but I want to give you guys a deck list that you guys can be using post info, and also up until then right now that will give you guys a list that's under $150 that you can run and win tournaments with like I did. So guys, with that being said, make sure to leave a like down below. Also make sure to check out the combo guide down below for the for the branded sword lines, and also if you want to see me do an updated combo guide for this deck, please make sure to leave a like. If this video gets to 200 likes, I will do that. Also comment down below what was your favorite aspect of this deck profile. Did you like how there was no thrust? What are the best thrust alternatives? Please let me know down below. With that being said, thank you all for watching. Thank you channel members. Check out all the links down below. We'll be seeing you guys later. Peace out, guys.